Guthrie, 84 years old, was last seen at her Tucson residence at around 9:30 p.m. Saturday. According to Fox News Digital, blood drops leading from the entryway outside down the house's pathway towards the driveway were located. Right now, there are tests being done with that to determine any sort of DNA. The Arizona sheriff also says Guthrie was likely abducted. We've also been hearing additional information about ransom notes that were found and sent to local media as well as TMZ. And right now, the sheriff is vetting those ransom notes. As we do await this live press conference, I do want to bring in former FBI Special Agent Miguel Clark to talk more on all of these developments. And Miguel, as always, we appreciate you taking the time to join us here on Live Now from Fox.
It's good to be here. I hate that it's always under these circumstances of something bad happening.
And Miguel, there have been a lot of developments, in the recent days where we've been learning from TMZ, we've been learning from local media outlets that they have received ransom notes via email. Right now, the sheriff's office is trying to vet those. And from your experience with the FBI, how does one vet a ransom note to determine whether or not it is legitimate?
Number one, we're going to be looking at how the ransom was communicated to us. So in this case, we're probably talking about email. So they'll do some type of forensic investigation into the email, likely coming from a cell phone or some other type of a mobile device, because that's how most people seem to consume the internet right now. So to get a little technical, you've got the device. Once that email is originated, there's going to be an IP address that's going to be associated to the origination of that email. And then every step or hop that it takes to get from the origination to the recipient, there'll be some record of that, the digital path that that email has taken. So I'm going to want to look at the forensics associated with that email. We also have to think about the person sending the email definitely does not want that email to reveal information about them. They're trying to act in a surreptitious way. So they're going to be making different efforts to hide or obfuscate their activities. So that's one thing. If I'm trying to determine, I think about it from the bad guy's perspective. They're sending an email. They want that email to be taken seriously. So they're going to want to provide some type of information that validates that the police should pay attention to them, or the family should pay attention. Concerning to me that we're not seeing the email sent directly to the family, right? Why is it not being sent directly to the family? Why do they not want media to be involved? This to me seems a little bit odd, because the media, the people, the public, they don't really have standing in the case, right? So what is that person who sent those emails, or the people who sent those emails, what are they trying to accomplish, and why do they think sending those emails to the media will help them accomplish that? So those are some immediate questions that come up to me.
Right. And Miguel, to your point, we were hearing from Savannah Guthrie and her siblings yesterday as they were pleading to learn more information, saying, we are aware of these ransom notes. Please, if you are the person who sent those, we want to hear from you. We are willing to listen. And I did want to play out that brief clip as we await this press conference, a live look right there on the screen. But for now, let's listen into just that snippet with Savannah Guthrie and her family.
Ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive.
So, Miguel, let's talk about that, because Savannah and her family haven't heard directly from whoever wrote these ransom notes. They don't know if it's legitimate. And we were hearing Savannah Guthrie saying, there is so much artificial intelligence out there. We need actual proof. There could be letters, there could be videos and photos. We don't know if it's legitimate. So how does one prove that someone is alive? What is legitimate proof of life that authorities are looking to see?
Well, for an authority perspective, we're looking for something that's going to be immutable, maybe today's newspaper or something along those lines, right? So whoever is the person who is thinking, I want to provide proof of life, they're risking giving some information over to law enforcement. So what they need to do is they need to be able to provide something that.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Press conference is supposed to start in a few minutes, you guys.
Something along those lines, right? So they're going to have to provide something that is personal to Nancy or to the family, but then also does not unduly increase their risk. So I think it's helpful for your audience to see it from the perspective of the adversary, from the bad guy. What are they attempting to accomplish? That's part of the way that we're going to be able to determine whether or not these things are real or if they're not real. And one of the things that suggests to me that it's something opportune.
Thank you, Barbara, for coming back. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Individuals who are most likely to provide a ransom, right? They're not going to provide a ransom unless they get more information. They're not going to make payments unless they get more information, unless they're convinced. So
Julia said, is there an I don't know option? I didn't see an I don't know option. I got to look into
the
that.
people who actually, person or people who have abducted her.
And Miguel, you brought up the crucial question that so many people want answered is
Thank
what
you,
is
Tammy.
the motive behind this? You know, we've heard from the sheriff talking about whether this might not have been a targeted attack, a kidnapping, an abduction.
You're welcome. You are very welcome.
Share from at least what we've heard from the sheriff and other law enforcement. What can you glean from the information that we've heard about a possible motive?
As soon as it starts, I'm going to turn my mic off so that way we can listen to the press conference.
Yes, right. We have somebody who's taken forcibly from.
And not only that, there's a clip what TMZ said about the ransom note, which I'm going to show you guys after the press conference too. So there's a tip, or a clip, I should say, TMZ said about the ransom note that I'm going to share with you guys as well after the press conference.
Forcing them to comply in some way, right? So that individual has to have the ability to project force or the ability to be persuasive in some way with an implication of force. So that's something that I'm thinking about, right? Like we know something about the individual. There's some physical evidence that was left behind. There's some digital evidence that was left behind. So you left that for the investigators to begin their investigation. Suggests to me not a coordinated, maybe not well executed. I'm thinking of an individual who has more aspirations than they have capabilities at that point in time. And, you know, to the point, we are 5 days into this. This is a logistical nightmare from the perspective of the individual or individuals who have perpetrated the kidnapping. Right, you've got to keep this person fed, safe, clothed, sequestered away. Right, there are a lot of moving parts that are required in order to be able to do this successfully and maintain that victim alive, right? So the first thing that I'm thinking is that in day 5, things are not going according to plan of the kidnapper and or kidnappers.
So I did want to ask you that. As you mentioned, we are now in day 5 of Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. Typically, from the FBI standpoint, as we are in day 5, what does that indicate to you? You did mention that it seems as though, the planning may have gone awry for whoever may have been responsible for this. But beyond that, when we're talking about the timeline from the investigative standpoint, time is always of the essence. Is the trail getting cold? What is going on? We still haven't heard too much from authorities, at least publicly.
Yes. We are now, me being retired, we're part of the public. We're interested in what's going on. From that standpoint, we're not really a stakeholder in the information. The investigation itself is the purpose right now. So we've got, if you're in law enforcement and you're working this case, there's 2 things you're trying to do. Number 1, you're trying to rescue, Nancy and bring her back alive. And number 2, you're conducting an investigation, which supports number 1. Right. And so these are 2 things I see that are happening in parallel. The last thing as an investigator I want to start thinking about is anything that's not going to lead or further my case. So I'm not thinking about the statistical things, right? These are things for us to discuss. We're on the outside. We're conducting an investigation, which supports number 1.
What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are doing good. Once this starts, I'm gonna turn my mic off. Give some of you guys some shout outs for joining in. TJ, thank you. Of course, always. Justice Talks with Julia, thank you. She is my right hand. I get a lot of my information from her. She says they better share more information on this case, not some bogus presser again. We will find out. Sherry, hey, what's going on, Sherry? Shirley, my favorite person from Canada, what's going on? Looks like they're testing the mics. Hey, Tulina. Stephanie says, this is so heartbreaking. I feel like she probably isn't with us any longer. That hurts my heart to say, especially with her medication. I'm praying for the family and God reveals the truth. One thing I thought about with the medication is hopefully whoever did this, they knew that she needs medication. Like they knew that. I'm hoping. So they had medication already there wherever she's at, if she's alive, or if they did take her across the border to Mexico, because the border is only an hour and 40 minutes away. If they did take her across the border in Mexico, you can walk into some of these pharmacies in Mexico and just get medication without a prescription. So I'm hoping, you know. Oh, Barbara, you're from Newfoundland. Oh, okay, you're from Canada. All right, welcome, eh? Cape Town. You're calling from Cape Town, South Africa, right? Wow. Cape Town, South Africa's in the house. This is how far Fugitive TV is reaching. I love it. I love it. Hopefully they start this soon. Yeah, now TMZ, I was trying to wait for the press conference before I show you guys what TMZ said about the ransom note. Because they said something about the ransom note, which was kind of important, I think. Yes. Ruby ruined the surprise. Ransom note said no talking. Ransom note said no talking. I'm going to show you another clip that I found this morning too. Remember yesterday when we were talking about the reward money? Remember how I said $2,500 when the reward first came out was really low? Remember I said that? There's a retired FBI agent who made that same remark. He actually said that if this was a ransom from the start, or whoever abducted her, $2,500 is not going to bring her back home. They should have made it at least $200,000 is what they should have did. At least gave a motive for these people to, okay, we'll talk, we'll bring her back, whatever it is. Shazzy, thank you, thank you. Do you remember what case you started following me on? Do you remember by chance? I am going to go to South Africa one of these days. That is on my bucket list. I am going to go. I need to go visit one of these days. Surely, I hope it starts soon too, because we all got stuff to do, don't we? I hope it starts soon too. These things never start on time. You're feeling very sad today. I'm sorry, Shirley. Well, remember this. You woke up today. You got a roof over your head and hopefully food on the table. $2,500 is so odd. Yes, that was an odd number. And I always thought that was odd when I first saw that. Barbara says, I agree. At least 250, not, yeah, the retired FBI agent, which I have a clip of him. I have to bring it up. But yeah, he said that he even said that, why did they do that? That was not a number that somebody would bring somebody back on. You know, that $2,500 doesn't even cover some people's rent in some of these cities. Justice with talks with Julia. Your birthday is tomorrow. You didn't tell me your birthday is tomorrow. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me? Is your 21st birthday, girl? Okay, all right. So you, Shazzy, you've been here for a while. All right. Are you in sunny California, Ray? No, TJ, I grew up in California. I grew up in Los Angeles, but no, I'm in Florida now. I live in Florida. I do go out to the West Coast a lot. I do go out to Vegas a lot. Actually, I go everywhere, but and then pretty soon, by the middle of this year, you're gonna see me out there like Brian Enton. I'm gonna be all over. I'm gonna be at the scene. I'm gonna be reporting from the scene. That is what I'm gonna be doing this year. Julia says she's gonna be 28 tomorrow. Everybody wish Julia a happy birthday for me, please. I get a lot of research done with Julia. They're still over here trying to get mics together, it looks like. Since they're going to get mics together, let me see something here. Let's take a look at this then. I'm gonna keep an eye on the press conference. And if it starts, I'm gonna switch over. But I want you guys to see what TMZ said. All right. Hold on real quick. I just want to make sure I have another screen up so we don't miss the press conference. So that way we're not waiting. So it looks like they're testing the mics. They are testing the mics. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Hold on. Oh, I thought we were going to start, but I guess not. I guess we're not going to start. So until then, let's do this. Now, if I
received an alleged ransom note that we forwarded on to the authorities, to the sheriff's department. The FBI called us a few hours later, wanted to, had a bunch of questions about that note.
Right. And there were a lot of things that we discussed with them that we made an agreement with them that we would not disclose just for sake of the investigation.
Right. Now, this alleged ransom note that we received, there's a lot of detail in it, and we're not going to be specific about that. We will say this, that when you look at the plea that Savannah Guthrie made yesterday, saying we're ready to talk, there are deadlines, I say plural, deadlines in this letter, and one is looming.
Right. If this isn't indeed a legit letter, and whether it's this letter or one of the other ones that was sent out.
And the other ones may be the same as ours.
It may be the same. We just don't know. But it seems pretty clear that the FBI and the authorities are taking something serious from the abductors.
Now, as far as...
That's why the family would sit down and make that, that video yesterday.
And as far as the letter we received, they mention two items in this letter, and I think they're trying to show we're for real. Now, again, we are saying this is an alleged ransom note. We don't know these are actually people who have Savannah's mother. We don't know. But they mentioned two items, and they describe certain characteristics, and those characteristics, and in one case, the item itself, has not been made public.
And our information is that is correct. The two items that are mentioned are correct.
And so
that part certainly to the authorities would say these people are serious and they actually do have Nancy.
So the final thing about the letter, and again, we're not going to get into all the details, but when the family is reaching out to say we're ready to talk, this letter suggests no talk. That was made clear right at the beginning.
Yeah, and so I think that the family sitting down and speaking that way, that they are trying to change.
What are you most interested in hearing?
Sheriff's walking up now. It's starting. He's walking up right now.
Here or hoping to learn?
Well, is this going to be an update that they're providing because they know that people want to hear more about what's going on and need to be reassured that the investigation is making progress? Or are there any kind of like hidden or coded messages, things that they want the adversary, the kidnapper, to hear and to know? Right. So those are the things that I'm going to be looking for, because you have to think about both of those messages, what you say, how you say what you say. If the kidnapper is watching.
Speaking of the Epstein files, Julia found some information on Savannah and the Epstein files that she sent to me yesterday that I never told you guys.
Not have that context because, of course, we're not the ones who were there when the kidnapping.
All right, Miguel, we do see that the sheriff is walking up. Let's listen in.
Trying not to cover any of these microphones up. Good morning. I hope you've been kind of informed of the rules. That I'm going to try to get as many, if not all of you, an opportunity to ask a question. But last time we tried this, it was just kind of chaotic, people yelling. So I'd ask that you just kind of be patient with me, pay attention to the questions asked, because sometimes you guys want to ask the same question twice, and you're going to get the same answer. So help yourself get what you can out of this. I'm going to give you one question and a follow-up, okay? But before we get there, I do have some comments. First of all, I want to begin by offering our condolences to our partners at the State Department of Public Safety's tragically lost two members last night in a helicopter crash up in northern Arizona. So if you would keep them in your prayers, Colonel Glover and his team, I'm sure, would greatly appreciate it. Along the same lines, I think you all saw last night, I'm trying to speak up, not yell, because apparently I talk soft. We saw understandably so. And so I really want you to know this entire team here, those behind me, and our community are hurting with you. We really just want Mom back, okay? Right now, we believe Nancy is still out there. We want her home. Our department, the Sheriff's Department, along with all of our partners at the FBI, have been working around the clock. And we just want her home and get and find a way to get to the bottom of all of this, just as you do. But I have other partners out there who have stepped up.
Come get your
probably
sheriff.
Noticed them in the last few days, if not the last few hours, and you're going to see more of that. I made a decision to contact our PCRIT team, and those of you not local, that's our Pima Regional Critical Incident Team. It's made up of law enforcement officers from this entire valley. Pasquayaki Police Department, Tucson Police Department, Marana Police Department, Oro Valley Police Department, Pima College Police Department, Tucson International Police Department, Sarita Police Department. There's so many of them, and they are going to help us tremendously. And that's really done because we have so much in front of us still, and we're hoping that, I know the FBI has committed a very large number of men and women to partner with us, work side by side with us. We go do an interview, they're going to be there with us. We're going to go look at some evidence or process evidence, they're going to be right there with us. We're sharing every piece of information, all the data we can to get this thing solved. And it's important that my partners in law enforcement know and understand their roles, because it is very large, complex investigation with a lot of moving parts. And we're at that phase now where sometimes we're waiting, right? We're waiting for analysis. We're waiting for lab reports. But even then, when they come back quickly, for example, some DNA, we rushed what we thought was the best target for DNA. We did a rush through and got some of that back. The results were minimal. I think you all know of the blood on the porch.
Who elected this guy? Who elected
came back
him?
to Nancy. That's what we know. But there's still more items that have been submitted. We just haven't got them back yet. But in the meantime, we're not just sitting on our haunches waiting. We do have a number of leads coming in, and that's why we brought in the FBI for one, but PCRIT as well, to be able to get out there and handle these leads as they come in as quickly and as expeditiously as we can. And every single lead is looked at, every one of them. And so we're gearing up. You probably have some questions about what you've seen in the last couple of days. I'll gladly answer those at that time. But it really is about getting our partners out there. To be fair, when we went to that scene the first night, Saturday night, it was just us. Since then, the FBI and others have asked, can we go and see it as well? And that's what you've been seeing. But it is a very important case to not just me and my team, but this entire community, all of our law enforcement partners. Suspects. I know there's been a lot out there about suspects. And I want to be very clear. At this time, we have not identified a suspect or a person of interest in this case. We are working our best to do that. But to be clear, we have nobody of interest or any suspects that you would consider a prime suspect. We're just not there. We're not there yet. The timeline, I think we've got it on the board, do we not? This is a timeline that we have been able to develop with some of the things that we've had processed. Various pieces of electronics that we've gathered. And you look at some of this, and I know you're going to say, well, why did it take you so long to get this to us, Sheriff? Well, because one thing, it's got to go out and be processed at different lab sites. And sometimes that stuff comes back to us, and like you, we have questions. And we say, wait a minute, what is this about? What about this? Could it be that? And so it's sent back, or it's sent somewhere else. So, and that's happening with all of the things we see, that process, that review, and that questioning of, all right, what is it we're looking at? So I'll go over it with you. You can see it on the board there, but at about 5:32 p.m., these are approximate times. 5:32 p.m., Nancy travels to her local family's home for dinner and playing games with the family. And just visiting. At 9:48 p.m., which is very consistent to what we were told by the family, that Nancy was dropped off at home, and we know that because we have a garage door open at approximately, I can't stress that enough, at approximately 9:48 p.m. At 9:50 p.m., that garage door closes, which is that time we assume that Nancy's home and probably going to bed.
Remember I said they probably had a garage door
Sunday
opener.
morning, early morning at 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera disconnects. At 2:12 a.m., software detects a person on a camera, but there's no video available. They had no subscription, and therefore it would rewrite itself. It just kind of loops, right, and covers up. That's what our analysis teams have told us. We're not done with that. We'll do all we can, but that's what it says. So that detects a person on camera. Could that be an animal? I imagine that's possible. We don't know that. We just have no video. But we're not giving up on that. 228. Nancy's pacemaker app shows that it was a disconnect from the phone. And at 11:56 a.m., the family checks on Nancy and discovers her missing. And at 12:03 p.m., 911 is called in to the Pima County Sheriff's Department. I believe it's about approximately 10 minutes later, 12 minutes later, our patrol teams arrive. They see the scene, and we start our response with our search and rescue teams and our detectives from homicide and various units. In fact, every unit here, I think somebody questioned, how come there's an ICAC member out here, or this member? Everybody in our criminal investigations team is a part of this team and part of this investigative effort. I think with that, let me make sure. Now, I want to clarify some things that I may have already done, but yeah, I've gone over with the blood at the front door, the doorbell camera. It was removed, we know that, but we're not confirming that any cameras were smashed or destroyed around the house. I don't know where that came from, but that's something we're not confirming. The car. The car that was at the home, it's just standard investigative practices. It's part of the search warrant scene, court orders. We pull it out of there and do our scene processing with the vehicle. That driver and spoke with them and got that information. The house, you guys got this, I think, conducting follow-up. I think you said somebody had mentioned that they saw a team out there again last night or yesterday, and that's just, again, what I was talking about before. Our partners wanted a chance to see it and examine things themselves, and more importantly, it's just we're constantly following up on things and go, hey, what about this? So we want to go back and check on some things. Here's the other thing. Someone had mentioned there was forced entry. I have no clue where that comes from. We have been very consistent. We are not discussing that at all. Whether it's forced entry or not forced entry, that is something we're just not discussing. So I don't know where anybody got that information. I think I am about done with my piece of this. I'm going to bring up here Heath Yankee, and I think you know him if you haven't been here. John Edwards is the assistant agent in charge with the FBI here at the Tucson office. Heath Yankee is the special agent in charge for the state of Arizona out of Phoenix, and he will come up and speak.
Yes, give us somebody else. Let's see.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Wow. Touchdown, Timmy. Fine.
And this will be the missing persons with the reward that will be going out.
So they raised the award to
FBI has
$50,000. They raised the
analysts,
award
and professional
$50,000.
staff employees working day and night with our partners at the Sheriff's Department. We have deployed additional intelligence and agents from our Phoenix office. We have brought in our critical incident response group from Quantico, Virginia. Members from our cellular analysis survey team are here, and they continue to collect and process digital information. We are actively reviewing and analyzing information from all digital sources, which includes banks, social media companies, phone companies, and any other organizations where a digital footprint could have been captured. All this information provides data points and helps put the picture together. And we will be in the community continuing to conduct a thorough investigation with our partners. You heard about us out there last night. We will be back out there today. I would ask the media, give our investigators the space to do their jobs while they're out there. Next, regarding the ransom letter. We are aware of a ransom letter that was sent to the local media and then to national outlets. As with every lead, we are taking it seriously. We are in communication with the family, and while we advise and recommend from a law enforcement perspective, any action taken on any ransom is ultimately decided by the family. Thank you to those in the community that have called in tips.
Yes, $50K is what they raised it to.
For anyone out there that may have information, no matter how small you think it may be, please report it. You can do so by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI or online at tips.fbi.gov. My next message is to those imposters who are trying to take advantage and profit from this situation. We will investigate and ensure you are held accountable for your actions. We have made one arrest related to an imposter ransom demand, and a complaint will be presented to a magistrate judge later today. You will get more on that from the FBI and our U.S. Attorney's Office here in Arizona when it becomes available. To anyone that may be involved, do the right thing. This is an 84-year-old grandma. This is an 84-year-old grandma that needs vital medication for her well-being. You still have the time to do the right thing before this becomes a worse, much worse scenario for you. Please return Nancy home. Thank you.
List. All right, so you want to call them or you want me to call them?
You can call them up.
Okay, so the first person we're going to start with the list is going to be...
They should have had him talking the whole time. They should have had him talking the whole time. Way better.
You're from 147 to 228. What you think happened there, and what particular software would have detected somebody on camera?
I don't. I know we know the software that was there. But I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm just not in the weeds. I know that think of your doorbell cameras. Somebody walks up. My wife's. If I walk up, she gets an alert, and it's usually something like that. A person's detected.
So to understand the develop, one, does that mean that it was about a 45-minute span that the suspect or suspects would have been on the property? And then also, does this essentially mean that you cooperated with the tech companies and you can officially say that no surveillance video is available from the home?
We know that the tech company that we sent that camera off to, yes, they've said they've run out of ways to recover any video.
Next person is going to be ABC News, Aaron Katersky.
Yeah. I'm sorry, was what 45 minutes?
Can we say it's about a 45-minute span that somebody would have been on the property then, from 147 to 228?
Yeah, I think those times speak for themselves, and it is about, like I say, those are approximates, so yes. I'm sorry, who was
Y'all are cracking me up in the chat, man. Y'all are cracking me.
Thanks very much. Is there information that you are purposefully withholding because of the active investigation that might be leading you in a particular direction?
You know, this is no different than any criminal investigation that we conduct here. Law enforcement has conducted investigations since 1865 here in Pima County. We're always mindful of what it is that's in front of us and what we should release and can release. There's legal guidelines that guide us, but there's also strategy too. So, you know, I'll leave that for you to determine.
Now that you are having such an injection of manpower from the Pima Critical Incident Team and the FBI, we just slow to bring that in at the outset? Should all of these resources been brought to bear sooner?
I guess that You know, it's Monday morning quarterbacking. I do it all the time, so you have the opportunity to do it for me. I'll take that hit.
CBS News, Jonathan Migliotti.
Sheriff over here, has there been any proof of life, and has there been any sign of life?
I'm going to, anything to deal with the ransom notes and that, I would defer to the FBI, but no, to my knowledge, we're still looking for Nancy.
And for my follow-up question, if I can speak with the special agent, what was it about this apparent ransom note that now 3 days on, you first haven't been able to validate, and second, it warranted informing the Guthries of its existence?
So the ransom note that was sent out there, obviously every lead in this case we are taking extremely serious.
But not everyone is presented to the family. Why this one?
Because this was the ransom that came in and it had facts associated with a deadline, with a monetary value they were asking for. So at that point...
What were some of those facts, if you can, because there's been a lot of speculation, as you know, if you could set the record straight.
This guy's
the ransom
asking a
itself,
question.
one talked about an Apple Watch, and one talked about a floodlight. We're not going to go into specifics. It's very important that we keep this investigation moving forward, and we don't want to put more facts out there that others then can use to try to profit from this.
CNN next, Ed Lavandera.
Hey, Agent, I want to follow up with you real quick on that. There have been, as far as we know, I think 3 ransom notes so far, 1 arrest. Are they all different? Do you think there's different authors behind all of them, or?
So the one that went to the media is the one we were currently investigating and working on. The imposter that I talked about, where an arrest was made early this morning, that there will be more information. We believe there's no evidence to connect this to Nancy's case. It was someone that was trying to profit from it, a total imposter.
And Sheriff, you started off the press conference by saying you believe that Nancy is still out there. Do you have reason to believe that she's still out there alive, or are you fearful of the worst case scenario here, that she won't be found alive?
Well, I'm certainly fearful of that. I think we all are. But it is we operate from a position that until we know she's out there, she's alive, and we're going to continue thinking that way until we find her.
Fox Digital, Mike Reese.
Yeah, sir. Mike Reese from Fox Digital. Sheriff, you said you've identified no suspects. Have you ruled out anyone she was with on Saturday night?
You know, we've talked to so many. I'm sure that my investigators have feelings about this one's clear or this one isn't. But no, I wouldn't say anybody's ruled out yet, because what if I rule you out and then later I learn something else? No.
So my follow-up, you mentioned that you don't know where the reporting of a forced entry came from. Do we know how whoever did this got into her house?
That I would not discuss with you anyway.
He knows.
Question for Agent Edwards.
You can tell when the sheriff is lying. You can tell when the sheriff is lying.
Be submitting the DNA for an investigative genealogical investigation relative to maybe hitting a relative, somebody, if you will.
I would say the DNA aspect of this case is being handled by the Pima County Sheriff's Department right now. However, should we get to that point, yes, that would be an option for the FBI to assist.
And a quick follow-up, does the ransom note that you're working establish any communication protocols in it?
No, it does not. And that is what I think is important, that if someone has Nancy and is demanding the ransom, that there is communication with the family. We talked about has been no proof of life, and there was no other demands within that letter. So they're still waiting for communication.
ABC affiliate, Ashley Holden.
Right here, Ashley Holden. When you say the doorbell camera was disconnected, do you believe that camera was taken?
We do not have it in our possession. We've not located.
And then a follow-up. I know that we've been hearing a lot about ransom notes. We were also hearing in that video that was put out by the Guthrie siblings, and I don't know if this is a question for the FBI or yourself, but the challenges of seeing an image and knowing that it's real. Could one of you address that? Has the family received correspondence, any images, videos?
So we're not going to go into facts regarding this part of the investigation. I think part of that message was with AI these days, you can make videos that appear to be very real. So we can't just take a video and trust that that is a proof of life these days because of the advancements in AI and trying to actually get a proof of life that we can verify. But we're not going to go into anything the family may or may not have received.
KOLD, Catherine Patterson.
So in regards to a timeline on that ransom note, is that being an impact in your investigation? Are we nearing that timeline?
I'm sorry, one more time.
So in regards to the timeline in the ransom note, are we nearing that timeline? And is that playing a part in the investigation?
We're not going to go again into specifics of that part of the investigation with the ransom note other than what we've put out there. We've been transparent. We're talking about we are working that ransom demand, but we don't want to go anything further than that could impact any opportunities. So thank you.
Is there any additional physical evidence at the crime scene other than the technology that you guys are using for this timeline? Is there anything else that's helping you guys other than really the technology?
Well, I think I said on day one is that it's technology that's going to really help us solve this case. But no, I mean, you know, we did do a process of that scene for biological evidence, so we're still hopeful that maybe something will show up there as well.
Arizona Republic, Richard Relas.
Great question on the screen right there. Great question.
We saw on the scene, I believe it was you, taking a tripod into the home of the sister. How involved was the FBI, if at all, in creating the video? Any advice for the family?
I would say we use our expertise and provide consultation and advice anytime a family would ask for our advice in a kidnapping. It's ultimately the family's decision of what they put out and any messages they put out. But we were, obviously, you're all documenting every move we make. We were there last night in talking with the family. But every decision is theirs.
Right, and that was a tripod and a ring light. And Sheriff Donovan, you said the blood was found on the porch and on the front stoop. Just wanted to verify that?
I say porch, front stoop. It's all in that same general area by the front door.
Front of the house.
Front door, yes.
What, given her medical condition and the fact that it was her blood, as you say, what would her medical condition do with her recovery if she indeed bled out or was bleeding when she left the house?
Well, again, I've got to be careful for HIPAA, but I would say this. We know she is in need of medication, daily medication. And we also know that this is day 4 or 5, and still we don't know that she's getting her medication. That could in itself prove fatal.
And for the
that'll be that question. For KGUN News, we have Craig Smith or Athena.
I'll get that for you. I'll get his name.
Craig?
KGUN, Athena.
Oh, okay.
Have you been in communication with anyone who you believe could be the kidnapper?
You know, it goes back to what we talked about. Nobody's eliminated, but we just really don't have enough to say this is our suspect.
This is when you can tell. He doesn't say yes or no. You can tell during these questions like this.
And it's really kind of reckless to report that someone is a suspect when they could very well be a victim. It just, I bring to you, to the media, I plead with you to be careful of what it is we put out there, because we don't have anybody here listed as a suspect, and you could actually be doing some damage to the case, but you can do some damage to that individual too. This is social media is kind of an ugly world sometimes.
And how far out have you expanded your search? You said.
You know, I would tell you this. Look, nothing's off the table. If we get a lead that there's somebody, hey, you've got this over here or over here, we're going, and that will expand and expand and expand. I think the FBI, with their billboards, they're now planning to put those up at every state around here, at all of our neighboring states. So, we use you, the national media, the FBI with their national outreach, to affect that for us. But as far as the actual investigation, naturally the scene is the primary, and we just keep spreading it out. as we get more and more leads.
Court TV, Cody Thomas.
Hi there, Sheriff.
Yes.
Actually, my question is for Agent Yonke. You know, we saw Savannah Guthrie and her sibling family put out that video last night on Instagram addressing, you know, the tragedy that this is, but also addressing the ransom letter saying they're ready to talk. My question is, did the FBI or any other agency help them craft that message to put out on social media?
Like I said to the previous question, we have an expertise when it comes to kidnappings. And when families want advice, consultation, expertise, we will provide that. But the ultimate decisions on what they say and how they put that out rests with the family itself.
And as far as suspects, I know we haven't identified one, but what type of suspect or suspects do we think we're dealing with here?
At this time, like the sheriff has said, there is no primary suspect identified, so it could run the gamut. So.
KPNX, Troy Hayden.
Are you actively investigating the son-in-law in this case? I know there were reports earlier this week, and you refuted that. You said you haven't eliminated everybody. Have you eliminated him or come close to it, or are you actively looking at him?
We're actively looking at everybody we come across in this case. Everybody. We would be irresponsible if we didn't talk to everybody. The Uber driver, the gardener, the pool person, whoever, everybody. It's so cliche, but everybody's still a suspect in our eyes. That's just how we look at things and think as cops.
True. Said
Does that
yesterday.
mean we have a prime suspect? No, and the family's been very cooperative. They've done everything we've asked of them, and we want that relationship to continue. And sometimes people can be mean out there, and that can really harm us and harm our efforts.
Did you find blood anywhere else in the home besides the porch?
The only DNA evidence we've got back is on the porch. We prioritize things and we rush things, and those items we put out to a lab to rush it. And even then, it's 2, 3, 4 days. The other items could take 10 days, 20 days, but we saw the importance of that blood. It came back to Nancy.
So it was only there, it wasn't anywhere else in the house?
I don't know that. We processed the house for biological evidence, and we've not gotten anything back.
Newsmax, Sarah Williamson.
Hi there. My question is just piggybacking off our colleagues here about how far this search has gone. When it comes to doorbell cameras, you say technology plays a critical role in this. Have you been actively door knocking the neighbours and businesses and collecting those doorbell cameras? And is there anything that has come up there, and how far is that?
I can't tell you whether things have come up or not, but we have door-to-door. I think we're still doing door-to-door, not just in that neighborhood, but other neighborhoods. Just as leads come in and take us somewhere, we're going to do those things.
Okay, and just to follow up as well in regards to the video that was released by Nancy Guthrie's children last night, just to clarify, that was not coordinated with any law enforcement beforehand, and that you hadn't seen that video before it was released?
The FBI is handling all things with the ransom.
I think the answer was yes, we were there. The media was there. We can help coordinate, provide that consultation, but that is the family's decision of what they film and what they put out.
Fox 10, Justin Liu.
Agent Yonke, this one's for you. Following up on that video that was released yesterday, it said, ultimately any further action is decided on by the family. Since then, have they expressed any more interest in more efforts to try and get in contact with who is behind the ransom letter? And do you have a crisis or any sort of hostage negotiator with your team for that type of situation if it moves forward?
So the two parts of that question I think it's pretty clear. The family wants to be contacted. They know time is of the essence, and if those that may have Nancy are watching this, the family is ready to talk, get proof of life, because there has been no contact after that ransom note went to the media. For your second question, yes, we have crisis negotiators. That is part of our team here locally, along with the personnel we brought in from Quantico, and they will be part of it, but we're not going to go beyond that of any specifics.
Sheriff, now, taking down the crime scene perimeter after Monday's investigation and really opening access to that property to everyone else, was that something you would do differently looking back, knowing that, federal authorities also conducted a search yesterday would you have kept that perimeter up, knowing that?
You know, Monday morning quarterback, I probably would have, but I'll say this. We processed the scene. We got what we thought was complete. My team did that. I have to have all the faith and trust in their abilities and their skills, and I think they went through that pretty well. But because another agency now steps in and wants to assist, we're just like with you, we're an open book. Absolutely. How can we help? One of the things people don't see, I heard your question about, and we left and then others could walk up. When we process a scene and we're done, we return that scene to in this case, the homeowners, the family. And we don't just go march back in there. We call the family again and get permissions to go back to the home. So, yeah, there's, again, Monday morning quarterback, absolutely. I probably could have held off on that. We knew that the FBI, we've worked with them before in a lot of cases, and we felt like they could be of help in this with particularly the forensic analysis we use in a number of things. But at the start of this thing, we weren't sure what we had, and as the day progressed, we realized that there could be more to this, and we started in that. Remember, it was a search and rescue mission the first few hours, and we transitioned that over to a criminal investigation. With that, brought in our partners from the FBI and others.
Have you heard from
Univision, Claudia Ramos. Univision, Claudia
I was
Ramos.
actually going to ask about that. We saw the message yesterday.
Are you next?
Claudia, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Univision. Following up on that, we saw the message from the president yesterday. Have you personally received any communication from him or
No, and I wouldn't expect that. He too is a busy man, right? And I would say this: we thank him for him opening up his entire law enforcement team was put out yesterday, and we know, I know my local reporters here know we've always worked well with all of our partners in law enforcement. Maybe it's something unique to Southern Arizona and the rest of the country doesn't see that, but this isn't new for us. We've done this. Gabby Giffords, I headed up that investigation many years ago, and we worked side by side. Could not have got things done if we weren't with the FBI on that.
And just the other question, this being a border state, have you guys had any communication with Mexican authorities?
I have not. I work closely with the Mexican consulate, as other consulates, being the sheriff, but no, I've not heard from them.
Arizona, Univision, Madrid.
Hi, Sheriff. My question is, do you know, it's a two-part question, do you know what medication Nancy uses? And have you checked the local pharmacies and pharmacies around the state where they bought, per se, this medication to keep her alive, to keep her healthy, while still look for her? So
we do know what medications, and we have contacted pharmacies. Probably need to go back to just make sure that they didn't, maybe we contacted them early on. I know that night, Saturday night, Sunday morning, I know we were doing all the hospital checks, and that check was continuous every hour, going back out. And physically in person, deputies were going to each local area hospital and asking them to check their logs.
My second question here is, I know you're looking for her in Pima County. Are you looking for her across the state now? And if so, if there's particular areas that you're focusing on right now?
Well, we're looking for her everywhere, right? The FBI just made an arrest on a tip that we got that we thought there could be something here. There's it's statewide. The billboards are going to be out there across the country. We take leads from everywhere, and where those leads take us, we'll get there.
MS Now, Alex Talbot.
Agent Yankee, do you have any reason to believe that Nancy Guthrie may be being held outside of the country? Is that something that you ruled out at this point?
We don't have any of that information. We haven't ruled anything out. Like the sheriff said, we will follow the facts wherever they take us, whether it is outside of the state of Arizona or over the border, we will follow the facts and go there. But we have no indication.
That was a question I've
anything
always
over the
had.
Mexican border.
Is she
You
in
mentioned
Mexico?
on the ransom note there were details about the Apple Watch and the floodlight.
Yep.
The ransom notes that were sent out to TMZ, KGUN, and KOLD, are they all the same ransom note? Do they contain the same details in each of those individual ransom notes?
The ones that I am tracking and aware of were the same. That went to TMZ also.
News Nation, Brian Enton.
Agent Yankee, sorry.
Yes.
When did the first ransom note arrive? And the reason I ask is because the Apple Watch has been in the news and on social media, and you could see like floodlights on video. So was it before those things were out in the world?
I don't have the specific time frame as I sit here today of what time it came in, but that you are right. Anyone could see a floodlight hanging down, could have seen some of those things. The watch has been talked about, so that timing is tricky, but that's why we're taking it serious no matter what and following the leads on that. But I don't have the time frame that the first note came in as I sit here today. Thank you.
And my follow-up is for the sheriff. In the house, were there any signs that someone tried to clean up or maybe destroy evidence?
I can't talk about the crime scene, so I'll give you another shot, another question.
My other question is, I heard the agent say that it was a joint investigation now. At the other press conference, the FBI said they were assisting. Is it joint now? I mean, are both agencies in charge now?
Look, there's no ego here. We in this part of the country, we'll take anybody's help. It's not about, it's not about who's in charge. From day one, when we contacted the FBI, they were that gracious to say, whatever you need. And so that's really it. And they're great partners, just as my other local law enforcement brethren. I didn't even have to ask. That's what's really amazing. I haven't had to call anybody. They've called me. Sheriff, what do you need?
Arizona's family, Brianna Whitney.
Sheriff, I know you had the crime scene process. You said you went back out there. Your partners wanted to see it, but you guys were actively taking out evidence yesterday. Was there something you missed the first time, or did you get a new piece of information that led you to believe you needed to go back out and take more than you had that first day?
You know, I know that we get information that will come, and this is just any crime scene that we look at. We may go out to a crime scene and think we've got it all, go analyze the evidence, and something comes back and says, hey, did you check this? We're not going to just say, oops, and not go. Absolutely. In this instance, it really was the FBI just wanted to go, hey, can we take a look at it?
Are you worried about that being contaminated at all because there was people in that?
You know, I'll let the courts worry about that. We will certainly be open to the courts of anything that's been removed from that house, and we follow the rules of laws. We get court orders and go back and reapply for another warrant if need be. All of those things we're very careful of.
Arizona Public Media, Lynn Boyd.
I agree, Shazzy. I agree.
In that news release yesterday, there was a report of a trespasser. Has the Guthrie family dealt with any incidents, threats, whether it's trespassing, social media threats, anything of that nature?
I am not aware of any of that. I know that we, as with any case, again, we would look at all of the background of calls to those
I have the
families
video
or
of a trespasser,
residents
so I know
and see
he's
if
got to
there's
be aware.
anything there,
I have the
or even
video.
in that neighborhood. Those things have been looked at. I don't know of anything that was reported in even the last 30 days or 60. Nobody's come to me and said, hey, next door you had a burglary.
Follow up for the neighborhood where Nancy's home is. Can you give any more details on that trespassing incident?
I don't have them.
Telemundo, Jesus Gonzalez.
It's for the FBI. I just have a question. Can we confirm if the FBI director is coming for the investigation?
Yes, Director Patel is being briefed several times a day on this investigation back in D.C. He does have a trip scheduled to Tucson that was pre-scheduled before this, but he is receiving consistent and constant updates from our team here.
He's coming today?
He is not coming today.
And before you go to the next one, I know you may have had a follow-up question, but I think I overstepped you. So if you wanted to ask, I'll give you that opportunity.
I really appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Thank you. At what point do you deem the ransom note not credible if there is no communication that follows up since you received it? Like, what's that timeline where you say, no proof of life, there's no more, this isn't credible?
I think we start to look at what the deadlines were in the note. First, I think was 5 o'clock today, and then it had a second deadline after that. So we are continuing in a normal kidnapping case. There would be contact by now, trying to discuss that. But those are the time frames we are looking at as we move forward.
Are you able to say that second deadline that was given?
I don't have that with me right now. So thank you.
Sorry about that. Entertainment Tonight, Denny Directo.
Yes, my question actually is for Agent Yankee. There was a report that said the ransom came from an email that the FBI was actually looking into that IP address. Any update on that?
Nothing that I can release. Thank you.
And then also, there's also conflicting reports about who was the last person to actually see Nancy and drive her home. We know she took an Uber to Annie's house, but can you confirm whether it was Annie or her son-in-law Tommaso who took her home that night?
I think the timeline that the sheriff provided was a family member, but
just family.
Yeah.
We're going to go with family.
He knows.
TV,
He knows.
Sir,
we are foreign nationals, so we're not familiar with the area, so we think that is a remote area. So my question is, why is it so hard to track a car or something suspicious that have passed through the area at that night? How difficult it is, because probably cameras around or something.
Yeah, you're talking about the challenges we face in some of being in a rural area like this. Those are challenges we face all the time. We'd love it to have all the cameras in what we would consider a more urban nature type area. But once you get out into the community, that's not the only part of Tucson that is that way. And we just find ways to overcome those challenges. We don't just disregard it. We still look at ways to find for example, ring cameras that might catch just a piece of something. It goes by, it doesn't catch the whole car. Those kinds of things. We don't give up. We still go out.
But not at least a car that came out at that night.
I can't.
Julia, text me his name. Text me his name
We
so I
have
can look it up.
cameras all
I didn't
over,
text
and
me
those
the
things
name.
are being reviewed.
Arizona Republic, Richard Relas.
I'm a different person.
Did he get two?
Yeah, it's the second one.
Was that you?
Oh, sorry.
No.
All right. Thank you guys for keeping us honest. No, you already asked your question, so we're gonna go to the New York Times with Reese. And I apologize for getting your name wrong here, Reese. Thibault?
No, you're close.
Thibault.
Hi, Sheriff.
Hi.
The 212, the camera that detected movement at 212, was that a different camera than the one that was disconnected at 147, and where was it pointed?
We don't know that. We don't know which camera that was. When we did the software, it just told us that a person.
I
was
agree,
detected.
Barbara. I agree with that.
I'm unaware of
definitely
which
agree.
camera that was.
So there were multiple cameras, and you're not sure.
Sure. There were multiple cameras at the home.
Okay. And is there a possibility that this is not a ransom situation? And if so, what else could it be?
Your guess is as good as mine. I would say absolutely there's a possibility that this is nothing to do with a kidnapping. But we cover all angles. We're not going to dismiss something until we actually know for a fact that it's one way or the other.
People Magazine, we have Danielle Walker.
So I wanted a little more clarity to follow up on his. Is there anything more you can say? Was this actually targeted or not? Do you have any?
That's why we have the FBI to look at those areas where there may have been a target. Maybe it is a kidnapping. But no, we don't have anything to rule that out or to say it is.
And as far as the ransom notes, there was a part in there about Bitcoin. Are you looking into that now, investigating?
Yes, that's part of the investigation.
Can you go and elaborate any further if you found anything or if there's any ties or any suspects tied to that Bitcoin?
There is not at this time.
Associated Press, Joe Govindera.
Hi, Sheriff. Just to follow up to
You're Joe?
I'm sorry?
You're Joe?
Govindera.
Oh, I thought you said Joe. Okay.
Just to follow up to a prior question, you had said early in the investigation that authorities don't believe Nancy Guthrie was targeted. Why don't authorities think that Nancy Guthrie was targeted?
Who said that? Who said they didn't
You had
think
said that early in the investigation.
Boy, if I said I absolutely misspoke. I've never thought she was or wasn't targeted. We've always believed that is certainly a possibility. I mean, you'd be silly not to think that. Somebody disappears in the middle of the night out of their home.
He's not lying. He always said that.
Where I'm coming from, but no.
To that question,
if I said that,
I don't know.
obviously
Pretty
I misspoke,
much.
or maybe somebody misheard me. But I've never believed that she was or was not a target.
Is there anything more specific you can say about what you believe the motive to be for this kidnapping at this time?
Motive's always going to be a question, and we'll know more as we go what that motive is. But right now, my guesswork is as good as yours.
And can you
And
talk
then we
a little bit?
also have the final one will be from KBOA here in Tucson, Monica Garcia.
Okay, so let's talk about that 5 p.m. Did you say 5 p.m. deadline today? Is that the deadline? Oh, maybe that's for the FBI.
Yes.
Can you just give us some sound on that? Because that's a big deal. That's within hours about that 5 p.m. deadline per the ransom note.
We are.
And then what's supposed to happen after that?
So the ransom note that was distributed to the media did make a demand for 5 p.m. today, and if a transfer wasn't made, then I think a second demand was for next Monday. We're not going to go beyond that, but that was the ransom note the media received.
Did it indicate what would happen if they didn't meet that ransom? Did they?
We're not going to go into those specifics. Thank you.
5 p.m. Eastern, I'm sorry, I know it's not Arizona. It's 5 p.m.
I don't.
It's 5 p.m.
And then, sorry about that, Inside Edition, Jim Murray.
A Special Agent Yonke, given the fact that the FBI participated
Wow, that gave us
in
some
the creation
details.
of this family video, does that suggest your belief that the author or authors of that ransom note, in fact, have Nancy Guthrie?
Again, we're taking the ransom note serious, and we are following that part of the investigation.
And does the fact that there is a ransom note suggest to you that Nancy Guthrie was taken specifically because she's Savannah's mom?
There's nothing to indicate that.
Thank you guys so much for all of your questions. The sheriff does have just one more note about what happens next year, or what doesn't happen next.
Well, it's what happens for us is we're going to continue working. For you though, I hope this worked out well for you. But right now, I have no plans to schedule any further press conferences unless we have some real evidence or something to bring up to you. It's pretty pointless to just keep hounding the same things over and over. And as Special Agent in Charge Yonke said, please give us some space, and that's not just physical space. Give us some space, give my team some time, because these things do take time, and they are difficult. And everybody out there is really working hard. And mistakes are going to be made, and if I made them, mea culpa. It won't be the first mistake I've ever made, but more important than me is we want Nancy back. That's the key. Okay, so thank you very much, and thank you for your concern in this.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are continuing to follow the very latest in the investigation into Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. And we are going to be speaking with former FBI Special Agent Miguel Clark. We also wanted to let you know that we are expecting the White House to be holding a press briefing any moment. We're going to directly transition to that once it gets underway. But as we await, I did want to head back to Miguel. Miguel, you were listening alongside with us about the very latest in the investigation. We know the FBI...
So, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? I'll tell you some key stuff that I did get finally out of that. How long was that press conference? About an hour? When we finally got a little bit of information. Now, there is something that a couple you were bringing up, which I do agree on. There was a couple you guys bringing this up. Let me see if I can scroll back and let's see if I can find it. Kat said, if it were my grandmother, she would not get the same attention. I agree, because if it was my grandmother, she would not get the same attention either. And I do wish that everybody got the same attention. I do this channel every single day. Every single day I do this channel, and a lot of it's on missing people. Thomas out of New York, 15-year-old. Another 15-year-old in New York. I believe his last name is pronounced Jafet, missing. Lupita out of California, 21-year-old. I can go on and on and on, and none of these people get the same attention that, you know, Nancy's getting. Now, I'm not hating on it, because, you know, the reason why is because of Savannah. Her daughter is in the media. Her daughter's a face of the Today Show, NBC. She was on Court TV. So in the media world, she is actually of what you would consider an all-star, you know? So I get it. It would be like an all-star player in the NBA or NFL, something, you know? So I get it. But it is sad when the rest of people don't get, you know, the same attention they're getting here. So I wanted to bring that out and, you know, let you guys that I do agree with that. But not only that, there were some key things that I took notes of that the rambling sheriff said. I'm hoping the sheriff is really good at his job. I'm hoping he's really good at his job. Hoping that. I know one thing, when it comes to the lying part, he's not good at. He's not good at the lying part. We can all read through him. Anytime they ask him a question, if it was a lie, you could tell he would start stuttering and everything else. But hold on, let's see. Yes, I know who you're talking about. You're talking about Busby? Is that who you're talking about? The one Busby, she's the girl that met the guy online playing video games? All right, so if you were in the live with me last night, we were discussing when they dropped her off. And if you remember, I said in the live last night, I said, how do we know what kind of access was given to Tomoso and given to Annie? All right, remember we were talking about that. Like their family, they probably have all the access. And remember how we were talking about the blood at the front door, how, you know, type of thing. So the sheriff did say, and remember I said they probably just opened the garage. So he did say the garage opened at a certain time. And then he said the garage closed at a certain time. So when he dropped her off, she didn't go through the front door, the back door. She most likely went through the garage, right? But you know the one thing he didn't say? Unless I missed it. When the family went back to go check on her, he said the time, but I don't remember him saying how they went through the house. I don't remember him saying the garage opened up at this time when they went back to the house to check on their grandmother. He just gave us 2 times when the garage opened and when it closed. But he never said how they got in the house when they got back. I noticed that. That was a question he kind of dodged. I'm just looking over my notes here. Now, another thing the FBI said as well. Now, I might be reading into this a little too deeply, but when they asked him about if you've been in contact with the people who did the ransom note, right? Hold on. Unbox Life says the garage is detached. Are you sure the garage is detached? Let me look real quick. I thought there was multiple ways. Let me see. To get into that home. Hold on real quick. Let me see. Trying to bring up aerial footage. It doesn't look like it's detached. Here, I'll show you. Let me show you. There's a picture here where it looks like the garage is open. So you can see. This won't let me zoom in, but if you see, you can kind of see the little arrow, the hand I have. Okay. It looks like the garage, you can walk, because you see that opening? There's an opening right here. So it looks like there is two different, I can see where you probably got the detached garage from, because there is a separate building right here from the house. That could be an outhouse, you know, or rich people usually always have outhouses or some sort of like in-suite unit or an in-law unit. It's usually what they always have when you have houses this big. So this could be an in-suite or outhouse, but you see that big opening right there? That looks like that's the garage. So it looks like you can go through the garage and then go into the house. And then the front door would be somewhere over here where that driveway's at. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, I had to double check myself when you said that. So I can see where you got the detached garage from, because there's another building by the house. I can understand that now. But yeah, so that looks like the garage. So it looks like you can walk through the garage into the house. So that means when they dropped her off, most likely they dropped her off by the garage, opened the garage door, let her walk through, you know, and then the garage door closed. But they never said how they got back in the house the next morning. He never said the garage opened up at this time when they went in. He never said that. But I firmly believe they already have a remote or a code open at garage anyway. I firmly believe that, because I told you guys last night in the feed, they took Tomaso's Facebook down. They took his Facebook down because I was trying to show you guys last night. On his Facebook, he has tons of pictures of them inside of Nancy's house before they bought the new house. Tons of pictures, almost like they were living there. So I'm wondering if they were staying there before they moved into the new house. And if they're staying there, of course, they have access to everything. And I'm wondering if he also had access to the camera some sort of way. Maybe that's why there's no subscription. Now, as far as when it comes to the meds, I know some people are asking about the meds, right? If she is still alive, I do think that they already had meds for her. If she is across the border, I saw a couple comments. Yes, if you're in Mexico, you can freely go and get meds without a prescription. You can easily do it. I grew up in California, Los Angeles. I used to have bad asthma as a kid, really bad. I used to use the what's it called, the nebulizer, and we didn't really have insurance. My mom used to have to go across the border, which was 2 hours away, cross Tijuana, go buy my medication and sneak it back across the border to give to me, because she couldn't afford to buy the meds here in the States. So she was easily able to go down there, spend a couple dollars. She even bought the whole nebulizer machine from Mexico and brought it back to me. So yes, you can get that stuff easier in Mexico. Now, we're gonna get into something real quick. Julia, who helps me out a lot with this channel, helps me out a lot. While we were on this live, Yes, garage used when Nancy was dropped off after dinner. Yes. And he never said exactly if they went through the garage. He never, that's the only time he said the garage was open or closed. He didn't say the next day or anything. Never said that. So Julia sent me some information about one of Tommaso's bandmates. All right. Remember, Tommaso was in a band, and we talked about this last night, if you guys are in there. So I'm about to look this guy up while I'm here, while you guys are here. I'm going to look this guy up, okay? Because she found some info on him. Now, it might not mean anything. It might not. But let's see here. Yeah, she found some stuff on him, background, to where his background is very questionable. Let's see if I can find it too. Is this him? Now, I'm not going to blast his name out there for you guys. That I'm not going to do because he hasn't been named in anything or anything like that yet. But I am going to tell you what he has been charged with and let you guys make the decision. Let's see if I pull up the same thing that she's pulled up. Hold on. Wait. Hey, Julia, are you still in here? Julia, are you in here? Do you know what's the age? What is his age? I want to make sure this is the same person. Because, hold on real quick. Hold on. Because who I'm pulling up has a kidnapping charge. Who I'm pulling up has a kidnapping charge. Who I'm pulling up has a kidnapping charge. I want to make sure this is the same guy that you pulled up. Out of Tucson, Arizona. I am showing if this is the same person. Hold on. Kidnapping, robbery, attempted with dangerous weapon, larceny, failure to return rented property. Hold on. How long ago was this? All felonies. I don't know if this is, let me make sure it's the same guy. How old is, hey, Julia, what's the age that you have? And middle initial. Yeah, I want to make sure this is the correct person. Like I said, I'm not going to say his name. Let's see here. Because the name is kind of a common name. Burglary, robbery, theft, embezzlement. Yeah, so I have burglary, robbery, theft, and embezzlement out of Pima County. All right, out of Pima County. He was born 1978. This charge happened around, so he was younger. He was 21 years old when it happened, and it happened 1999. But burglary, robbery, theft, and embezzlement out of Pima County. Burglary in the third degree. This is the bandmate. I found, yeah, this is the actual bandmate. Okay, DUI. Actually, he just got the DUI not long ago. How many DUIs this man got? I'm surprised he even has a license. Now, like I said, I'm not going to give y'all his name, but Julia did send this to me while we were online, or we were talking to, or, you know, listening to the sheriff ramble. So yeah, this guy does have a burglary charge, meaning he's already broken homes. And I don't know if you guys have been following me. I've told you guys this before. I said just because somebody got caught one time does not mean they have not always done it or done it a bunch of times. I'm looking at now to see his relatives or anything like that. And guys, you know what's weird about this guy too? You know what's weird about this guy too? Last night when I showed for you guys that were in my feed or the live last night, I showed you and I showed you my screen and I showed you I did a background check on Tommaso. And I showed you only family members that came up on his background check were on the Guthrie side. There was no family members on his side. This guy is almost the same way. Almost the exact same way. Wait, is he from Italy too? Hold on, is this guy from Italy as well? Hold on, let me read this cap. Somebody said something in here. Let me go back. The debut album was called Suspect. We're better than the police. Cat said, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It's no wonder he married Savannah's sister, a meal ticket. I said that last night. It was just too much of coincidence. He came to America in 2006. They got married in 2006, and he forms a band within the same year. I don't know. Kidnapping can involve literally moving someone a feet or two. You're right about that. You are right. But the thing is, if that's what you're charged with, that's what you're charged with. But not only that, the person is also charged with burglary. So, meaning if the charge isn't usually the same date and same time, a lot of times that involved you burglarizing somebody and maybe you held them against their will for a little bit. So you said JLR, I watch his channel sometimes. So he actually already put out the bandmate's name out there. Okay. Maybe he's the other sex hey, I don't this is yeah, it's very suspicious. This feels wrong. Let me make sure it's wait. Yeah, this is the guy right here. I found him, but I'm not going to give his name out. I'm not going to give his name out just because nobody said, you know, I know it might be some other YouTube channels I might put, but I'm not going to do that yet. But I will let you know there is a major background on this person. And when it comes to looking at relatives, there almost is none. Just like Tommaso, there was no relatives. I wonder how they all met. Oh man. Yep, yep. Thank you, Julia. Yeah, this is him. This is a correct one. Yep, that's the one I got to as well. Wow. Like I said, I'm not saying he's involved or he did it. Not saying that, but very suspicious. Now I'm gonna tell you guys something. The way the police work, right? Criminals usually have an MO. Think about this. If you have somebody that's on the same street and let's say that person is a SO offender, you know, SEX offender, right? You don't want him on your street. You don't want him in your neighborhood because of his charge or what he's prone to do, whatever, right? Now, I'm not saying this works with all charges. I'm not saying that because, you know, I have a background myself. So you guys that know my story. Well, my story for you guys that don't know, in my early 20s, I started a big car ring. It was a car theft ring in the state of Colorado, okay? And it was dealing with dealerships, all right? And so that's what happened with me. Now, let's say, you know, that was what 20 something years ago, right? But let's say in my neighborhood, I live in a nice neighborhood. And let's say in my neighborhood, all of a sudden these car thefts start going on. And the police come around. One of the first things they're gonna do is start looking for suspects. And they're gonna pull up people's names and they're gonna see my name. And they might see my stuff from 20 years ago. Then they might start asking me questions. But I'm gonna expect it. I will expect it because I'm like, hey, this was in my past. I understand. I know you want to ask me questions, but hey, I can help you find who's doing it because I did it before. So let me help you find who's doing it. So it's gonna be, if law enforcement should be on their job, right? They're going to be looking at all of this. And they're going to look at everybody that has a connection to this family that has any sort of background when it comes to breaking an entry. That's one. Burglary, any sort of violence, any of that. No family records. Maybe they're related to. Are they related? That is a great question. Because the first name could be an Italian name. Far as I know, that's what some media reports were saying. Evidence was taken from their home. We do know their car was impounded. So the car was impounded and seized. And the car could be impounded and seized just because of procedure. Okay. Because that was the last car she was in. So that could be just for procedure. But what I'm wondering, I would like to know is FBI, did they get a search warrant to do all this? Or did Annie and Tomoso say, go on ahead and get what you want? That's the part. Because if they said no and FBI had to get a search warrant, that's what would make it suspicious. Julia brought something else up to me too yesterday. What did she bring up to me? I didn't get a chance to write it down on my computer or put it down, but I don't know. You guys can take this for a grain of salt. I figure I'll bring this up to you. You guys can decide for yourself what you think for this one. Do you know Savannah's name was in the Epstein files? Did you guys know Savannah's name was in the Epstein files? Did you know that? Julia found it going through the Epstein files. Let's see if I can find this. It might not mean nothing. It might not, but who knows? I don't know. See if I can find where this at. All right, I found it. You guys want to hear what this says? Why she's in the Epstein files? Now, a lot of this is blacked out because there's names and things like that. So, and information that, of course, they don't want you to say. But for some reason, Savannah's name is not blacked out. I heard that this morning. Ashley Banfield's name was in there too. But I'm wondering if it's the same reason because it's interview reasons. Actually, I think this one has Ashley Banfield's name in. Hold on, wait. The one I have. Let me see. Let me make sure before I say that. This one that I'm looking at. No, this one doesn't. But hold on, let's see. So it says, I don't know. It's from the Public Affairs, United States Department of Justice. Hold on, let me see if I can get this. Maybe you guys can see this. Let's see if I can zoom this. All right, see that right at the bottom? Public Affairs, United States Department of Justice, U.S. Attorney's Office. All right, hold on and let me go up here. Now, as you see, a lot of it is reducted. You can't, a lot of it's blanked out, right? And then you have the paragraph in yellow right there. So it says, just wanted to give you a heads up. She's done another interview. Now, they're not saying who this she is. They're not saying who the she is. But it says she's done another interview with Savannah Guthrie. Okay? Hold on. See if we can get this zoomed in. See? She's done another interview with Savannah Guthrie. Now, I'm going to read for you guys the rest, but I want you guys to see that. She's done another interview with Savannah Guthrie. In it, she said the following. Then it says one. So in it, whoever this she is said the following to Savannah Guthrie. She was interviewed by FBI in 2011 by A, and they blank it out. In the interview, she gave the names of all the girls she helped to traffic. She was also interviewed by SDNY with no time frame. Then it says, two other women also tell DOJ that Epstein especially trafficked them to other men. So basically in this document, it's saying Savannah Guthrie did an interview with some woman, and this woman supposedly gave all this information to Savannah during the interview. Like I said, take it for what you want, but I found it was kind of, this is going on, and then her name pops up on that. Ransom due by 5 p.m. today. Unsure what the time zone. Yeah, they didn't give us the time zone. Deadline will be extended to Monday if not paid today. So she interviewed victims and it never aired. So I feel like I'm in a Truman Show sometimes. Ain't that the truth? Don't seem real? Don't it seem like this is scripted and fake? It don't seem real, do it? I thought she said her husband was on an island. I don't know. I didn't get all that. I just have this, what was sent to me. So I figure I'd tell you guys that. Let you guys make, take what you want with it. But yeah, she's in the Epstein files for giving the person an interview. And then the person in the interview, I guess, gave Savannah some information. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on here. Makes our job dangerous almost in a way. Oh, man. Well, they upped the reward to $50,000 on Nancy. So now it's $50,000. It should have been upped a long time ago from the start, is what I think. It should have been up there. Yes, from 2011. Is she did this interview 2011, and whoever they're not saying who the person is, but whoever she gave the interview to gave her all this information. It's pretty much what happened. And the interview never aired. So Savannah knows all this information from the person she interviewed. Thanks for the super chat. Lorraine, thank you. You've been supporting the channel for a while. All the way from Scotland. All the way from Scotland. I know it's got to be cold there right now. I know it's got to be cold in Scotland right now. Savannah looks the most distressed out the three. Yeah, fugitive, just strange. It really, like, all this stuff, like, I'll be honest with you. For those of you that's followed me, very strange case. Church collected, yes, we found out last night church collected 25,000. We did find out last night. Because first it was only 25. The first day it was 2,500. And I saw that. I was like, 2,500 for Nancy? What? 2,500? That don't even cover some people's rent. That barely covers where I live at. 2,500? Are you crazy? I'm like, that's what she's worth. So it just made me. And then the church raised 25,000. And I'm like, hold on, this don't sound. I just think as soon as I saw the $2,500 to start, I was like, something's up. Something's going on. They're just not telling us that just from that alone. But out of all these cases I have done, I have looked into in the past, 7 months or 8 months since I've been doing this, like nonstop straight. This is definitely the case that has took the most twist turns, and it's just awkward. And everything about this is just weird. Every case I have done so far, when it's happened, as soon as I start researching and looking to the background, you can almost tell who did it. You're like, okay, this person did it. And then a week later, news comes out and they're like, yeah, he's out for his warrant out for his arrest. And it's almost been like that every time. But this one, they think we're dumb. Well, and you know what? And I understand from being I was never a cop, obviously, but being in the law enforcement, and if you're looking for somebody, you're looking for the person who did it. I understand keeping the information, close to the vest, like they say, because you don't want people that they're looking for to try and destroy any evidence or, try and cover up their tracks. You want them to think that they're scot-free, because once they think they're scot-free, that's when they make mistakes and that's when they start slipping up. So I do understand that. I do. The part I don't understand then is why give these press conferences? Why? Why? Why waste somebody's time for an hour if you're really not going to say nothing anyway? Like Monday's press conference. Why? That's the part I don't understand. If you're not going to say something, just don't say it and don't do no press conference. I don't understand that part. Shazzy says, I agree, Ray. You normally call it, so this one is definitely weird. Yeah, it is weird. It is weird. And I still agree, you know, even if it's not Tomoso, the brother-in-law, even if it's not him, it's still somebody that planned this. It's still somebody that knows that area, because that area, like I've been to that area. You're not just going to drive there and find some random home and be like, okay, I'm going to go. It's somebody that planned this out. Just like when the sheriff today, remember the sheriff, they asked him, they said, are you aware of the lurker or that strange man that was at somebody's house? And the sheriff was like, oh, no, I've never seen no video about that. You remember that the sheriff said that? I never seen a video about that. I know he lying because I got a video of that. Julia just sent me the video of that. So if Julia's got the video and sent it to me, I know the sheriff got to have the video. I have the video of the strange man lurking. Look. So I know that was a lie. Hold on, where's it at? Let's see here. There's the blood video. Man, we send each other stuff every day. Every single day we send each other something. Hold on. What's this? That's not it. Let me find this video. I'm going to show it to you guys. I have the video. So I know he's got to have the video. If he don't have it, he's going to be banging on my door. Hey, we need that video. Let's see here. Where did it go? Here we go. Found it. All right. So when they asked the sheriff about that video, about this person was caught lurking around one of the homes in the neighborhood, okay? That's the video they were talking about. This was, if you see the date, that was back in December. Now you see on the bottom, look on the very bottom of the screen. You see the little badge symbol? You see the badge? Where did the video even come from? Y'all see the badge symbol? Let's try that again. Let's try that again. This is how you know we don't get the whole truth. Look at the very bottom in the corner. You see the little badge symbol. That means somebody released this video from the police department. Our Ring doorbell camera video footage does not have a little badge symbol on the bottom. That's what they're talking about, okay? Now, he does have a vest on, so he could be out there just doing work. And one of these old people's like, oh my God, who's this? Because he had a vest on. Yeah, so it was two different. First was a guy looking at, it looked like an electrical box is what he was looking at. The second guy was an Amazon guy pulled up. It was Amy Roebuck, ABC News, who conducted an interview with Virginia Guthrie in 2015, which was not aired. It was Bill Clinton Epstein. Oh, okay. Wow. See, I did not know that. Yeah, what's that lurker even doing? So he had a vest on, and he was by he was looking at a meter box. It looks like an electrical box, but he does have a vest on. That's why it's glowing like that. So I'm thinking, he doesn't have a mask on or nothing. So I'm thinking maybe this guy was out doing a job and it's just dark outside. I have no idea. But he's at the electrical box. Looks like he's reading something. But yes, that little badge at the bottom, law enforcement. Oh yeah, because Shazzy is in a different country. Yeah, so that little badge at the bottom is law. That's police. Basically saying this footage came from the police department. Said it looks like an Amazon. It do, don't it? It do. But I do know some of these workers, when they're out late, you know, from time zone change and all that stuff or whatever, you know, the daylight savings time. I do know, even out here where I'm at in Florida, these workers sometimes will wear vests that light up like that. Here, I'll let you guys look at it again, actually. So if you see, there is a meter box. If you look closely, he's standing in front of a meter box. You see that? Matter of fact, there's another meter box right behind him. So he's standing in front of a meter box. And then the second footage, yes, goes to the Amazon delivery driver. So it looks like he's taking pictures when he lifts the phone up higher. Now, we don't know whose house this was. We don't know any of that at all. All it says is the Pima County Sheriff's Department tells TMZ that in early January, an elderly man reported spotting a trespasser at his Tucson home less than 10 minutes from where Nancy Guthrie's house was. Investigators are now examining whether the incident is connected to what happened. I don't know. Your guess is good as mine. I don't know. All I know is he's in front of a meter box. I don't know though. Says those are two different guys. The first guy is taller. The Amazon guy is short. All right. Let's take a look again so you guys can decide. Are these two different people? Let's look at the pants. See if he's got on light pants. He's also got headphones in his ear. He's got earbuds in his ear. He's got earbuds in his ear. Usually if you're doing a crime, you're not going to have earbuds in your ear, but he's got earbuds in his ear. They are two different people. This guy has dark pants. He's got dark pants. So they're two different people. The first guy had light pants. The Amazon guy had dark pants. I don't know if that's the same person or not, but I do know that in the press conference, they asked the sheriff about the video, about the lurker video. And the sheriff was like, I don't know anything about the video. That's what the sheriff said pretty much. And this is the video they're talking about, which I'm showing you guys right now. Yes, remember to hit the like button because I forget to tell you guys to like, subscribe. I be forgetting. So thank you for saying that. First guy had light pants. Second guy had dark pants. So yes, they might be two different people. The guy's looking for the Holy Spirit at that time of night. Very scary. Looking for the Holy Spirit. Now, the one thing I can say though is you have to remember where these people live at. Okay? There's no street lights. So because there's no street lights, it could be extra dark. I don't know. But there is no street lights. Did they look into the Uber driver, the Amazon delivery? That'd be a question to ask that sheriff, and he's probably going to dance around it. He's probably going to say, well, I never heard of an Uber driver. People will hit the like button without you saying anything. They say when you do a good job, they're gonna like it anyway. Amazon just dump and run. Sometimes they dump and run at the wrong address. How many of y'all got deliveries to the wrong address before? So they're asking for Bitcoin, HQ. They're asking for Bitcoin. I explained how Bitcoin works yesterday. Bitcoin can be in some sort of a way, I'm not going to say anonymous, but a whole lot harder to track. And by the time you track who can get to, if they're doing this the right way, that person could be long gone. I used Bitcoin when I was doing what I was doing for that reason. Yeah, the Uber guy so when Nancy left the house to go to dinner or wherever she went, the Uber guy took her to Annie's house, Annie and Tommaso's house. And then Annie and Tommaso dropped her back off. Oh man, yes. Let me see here. Let me go back over my notes, see if there's anything that's missing out from this that I can try and give to you guys that they didn't give to us. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Greetings, goddess of peace and love. Oh, that's right. There's another thing too. Here's another thing. Now, I might be looking too much into this. So I took notes during the press conference and like the little tidbits they said that I noticed was like, interesting. You remember when they asked the FBI agent? Now, I will give it up. The FBI agent was a whole lot, listening to him was a lot easier than listening to the sheriff. Hopefully the sheriff is just not a talker, but does a great job. But the FBI agent, it was way easier to listen to him. But the one guy asked the FBI agent, the guy said, do you believe Nancy is still in the country? He didn't ask him, do you think Nancy's in Mexico? He said, do you think Nancy's still in the country? And then the FBI said, well, we're currently looking into that. And then after that said, but we have no indications of her being in the Mexican border right now. I was like, hold on, wait, time out. He never asked if she was in the Mexican border. He just asked if she was out the country. You know how many countries there is? They could have went to Canada. Canada's up north. They could have went to Canada. So I was like, hold on, why would he say that? I don't know. Like I said, I might be reading into it a little bit more. But I do know if the cops are questioning me or the cops are questioning any of you guys, and the cops want to ask you a question like, hey, do you think such and such is out the country? And then you turn around and say, well, I don't know. I have no feelings that Suzanne is in Mexico. Why would you think Suzanne's in Mexico, sir? Hey, I'm just saying. I'm just reading over some of your comments. Why didn't Annie pick her up for dinner? Good question. Good question. It was a Saturday. Tommaso's a school teacher, so he shouldn't be teaching on a Saturday, right? Good question. I'm noticing people are tarot readers and stuff. What kind of channel is this? I'm sorry, I'm new here. Everybody is welcomed in here. I don't care what you are. You are welcomed in here. I don't care if you read tarot cards. I don't care if you dig ditches. I don't care who you voting for. Hey, you're welcome in here. This whole thing is incredibly insane. Tucson is only in how, yeah. hour and a half away from what city is that? I looked it up a couple videos ago. I still think it's in-law. A lot of us still think it's the in-law or has something to do with it, right? The tunnels. Lottie, did you learn the tunnels from me when I talked about those tunnels underneath the border right there? Oh yeah. Used to be a teacher, not currently. Well, yesterday when we were online, I went to his website, or I should say the school's website, and they took him down. Let me change my I'm gonna change my camera real quick for guys. Hold on real quick. So for you guys that didn't see this TMZ thing, I'm gonna show you this, okay?
To the sheriff's department. The FBI called us a few hours later, wanted to had a bunch of questions about that note.
Right. And there were a lot of things that we discussed with them that we made an agreement with them that we would not disclose just for sake of the investigation.
Right. Now this alleged ransom note that we received, there's a lot of detail in it, and we're not going to be specific about that. We will say this, that when you look at the plea that Savannah Guthrie made yesterday, saying we're ready to talk, there are deadlines, I say plural, deadlines in this letter, and one is looming.
Right. If this isn't indeed a legit letter, whether it's this letter or one of the other ones that was sent out.
And the other ones may be the same as ours.
It may be the same. We just don't know. But it seems pretty clear that the FBI and the authorities are taking something serious.
I'll go over the tunnels for you guys again. I'll go over that so I can show you how that works.
That video yesterday.
And as far as the letter we received, they mention 2 items in this letter, and I think they're trying to show we're for real. Now, again, we are saying this is an alleged ransom note. We don't know. These are actually people who have Savannah's mother. We don't know. But they mention 2 items, and they describe certain characteristics, and those characteristics, and in one case, the item itself, has not been made public.
And our information is that is correct. The 2 items that are mentioned are correct.
And so
that part certainly to the authorities would say these people are serious and they actually do have Nancy.
So the final thing about the letter, and again, we're not going to get into all the details, but when the family is reaching out to say we're ready to.
All right, guys. So TMZ for that video is basically put out that video today saying that the letter states that they shouldn't be talking, is what the letter suggests, right? Somebody asked about the tunnels and Mexico. So I'm going to show you, okay? This is from Tucson to the Mexico border. An hour and 12 minutes if you take I-10, my bad, I-10 down to the Mexico border, all right? And I'm going to show, for people that aren't aware of this, so when you get to the border here, all right? So you have the border right here, okay? Where you see the blue line, United States. This side, you're going to have Mexico, right? So for the average folk, they would cross, through the border right here, which says U.S. Customs Protection and things like that, You can also smuggle drugs through if you want to try and things like that. But for the underground folk, you got neighborhoods, right, on each side. But for the underground, this is the American side. So you got houses, regular neighborhood, you're driving through a regular neighborhood, but something you might not know is this house might have a tunnel underneath it that's dug. And that tunnel might go underneath, as you see the fence right here. And if you've never been over here, let's go on the Mexico side, right on the other side of the fence. We're going right on the other side of the fence on the Mexico side. So this is right on the other side of the fence. So that house is right over the fence. So a tunnel might go all the way underneath here to this school. So that's how they transport drugs, fentanyl. A lot of fentanyl gets to go through the tunnels. They're usually run by the cartels, usually what these tunnels are run by. Smuggling too as well. But these little border towns like this, you have a lot of tunnels, a lot of them. So I want to show somebody had a question that said they missed that. No, Ring camera is not backed up because they didn't have a subscription or didn't renew it. Somebody shut off their subscription to the Ring camera. Can an FBI operate in other countries? If she was taken to Mexico, I wonder if they can get her back. So places like Mexico, we do have a treaty with, okay? We do have a treaty. Now, the way it works is the FBI just can't go across the border and set up shop in Mexico and start doing their thing. The way it works is they have to get authorities' permission on the Mexico side, and then they have to pretty much, work together. It's kind of how it works. Barbara said, Brian eating it. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Yep. You also have Interpol too, which you don't hear of Interpol too much. Interpol's got a lot of power. But I know more than you, fugitive. I don't know that much, but when it comes to this stuff, they said right here, keep in mind, tunnels can be easily found with ground penetrating radar, but some still can exist. And you know why those tunnels still exist? Do you know why those tunnels still exist? Some of those tunnels exist. Some people are getting paid. This is what the media doesn't tell you. This is what the media doesn't tell you. Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you something right now. There's stuff that they're never going to tell you, okay? When I did my time, I'm going to tell you this before I go. I was in Colorado. Colorado's known for having some of the most prisons there is out there, right? They got the max prison Gotti was at. I mean, El Chapo, all kind of people are out in Colorado serving time. But when I was there was a couple people that were in there, okay, or whatever, right? And I'm not going to say any names, nothing like that. These people were so nice, to me anyway. So nice. But you know how much pull, do you know how much power they had, even though they were just locked up? Their power was unbelievable. They had guards on the payroll. Guards would literally come in, slide them a cell phone. They would use the cell phone. They have it for about a week or two or something like that. And then the way prison works or jail, every so often they'll do what is called like they call it a shakedown is what they call it. So every so often a pod or a unit that you're in will go through a shakedown. And if the guard on duty is on payroll, a lot of times they will inform the person like, hey, they're about to do a shakedown tomorrow or today. You need to get rid of your shanks to get rid of any contraband you have. But some of the higher ups know the guards, some of them will be on payroll, so they won't even tell the guards, right? So they'll just be a surprise shakedown. I watched him get his phone taken away because you ain't supposed to have the phone. You ain't supposed to have nothing of that stuff. He had a phone the very next day. Very next day, not even 20 hours later, another guard came in and brought him a phone. Another guard came in and brought him a phone. And you know what he's doing with that phone? All kind of stuff. Now, prisons have got smart, though. Prisons have got smart. They got these systems in place to where they can catch certain cell phone signals coming from the jail and things like that, right? So if you're using the phone, the prison will know you're on the phone using it, and now they start recording your conversation. This man had so much power. Some sort of way, he was getting around that. That's all I got to tell you guys. There's stuff that they don't tell us. America makes money from trafficking too. That's people on the payroll. If you're a guard and you're making $60K a year, you know, you think you're doing all right for yourself, right? But then one of these guys come up to you and go, hey, bro, I got $30,000 for you right now, cash. Right now. I just need you to slide me this phone. I need you to slide me to do this and do that. A lot of those people take it because they got to work half a year to get that $25,000. You just getting it like that. You got bills to pay, rents due. That's how cops become on payroll. So probably, what Diddy doing? I am sure he is in there living a decent life. He's in there. He's got to be living all the money he's got. He's living a decent life. I know he's got to be living a decent life in there. I mean, nothing about jail or prison is a good life, but if you got some money, it could be better. If he's got some money, it could be better. I want to say thank you guys for tuning in. I wasn't even expecting to do this live today. It was just an out of nowhere press conference. I actually was supposed to go out and do some things, and I saw an alert for the press conference. So I said, let me go live with you guys today. We can look at this together, talk about this together, and if there's anything else that happens, any other updates, I am definitely going to let you guys know. I'm going to be on it as well. I have a little like behind the scenes video about me for people that are in here that are members. So I got a little behind the scenes video, like a 10-minute video for you guys. I'm gonna be sharing, okay? I'm gonna do another video tonight too. So I'm gonna put out a video. I don't know if it's gonna be, if there's new updates, I'm gonna do a live. If there's new updates, I will let you guys know I'm gonna do a live. But if there's no updates, it'll be a pre-recorded one like I usually do, okay? Let me give out some shout outs to you guys that are in here. Barbara, thank you for being in here. Lauren, Bammy, thank you. But thank you as well, Bammy. Brenda, Lottie's always coming through. HQ, the Tarot Detective, Shazzy, thanks a lot for being here, Shazzy. You've been following me for a while. I appreciate you. Shazzy has a good sense of humor. She's just always cracking jokes, okay? She's just cracking jokes. Dot K, thank you, Dot K. Drag's a car guy, so am I. Let me see if I can keep going down the rest of this. Lauren, see if I, Cassandra. Elizabeth, HQ, Ellis in Wonderland. Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in. All the YouTube channels are out there, billions and millions of channels. You guys choose to watch mine. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. That's why I try and show you guys all the love that I can, because I appreciate that. You guys are helping my channel blow up tremendous. I love it, and I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep giving you guys the real, unfiltered as much as I can, as much as YouTube allows me anyway. And hey, breaking these cases for you guys, all right? Drag said cars and bikes for life, bro. All right. Please be safe out there. Drag, you make sure you drive safe. Probably don't get no more speeding tickets. I don't have to do no reports about you. And anybody else out there, make sure that you guys take care of one another. All right? This is Fugitive TV. I'm out.